Hi, it's Ellie with a Radiant Form. Thank you for joining me today. Today we have a really challenging sequence for core strength. Not only are we going to strengthen the abdominals, but also the entire back body, the whole way around, and the whole posterior chain. So up and down the spine, but also the backs of the legs. So when our back body is strong and supported, then the rest of us can have a little bit more safety and ease. So with that, we're going to begin today in child's pose. But before we move into that, I invite you to join me in the affirmation today. Hands at heart center. Always welcome to bring your own intention to the practice. But if you would like to join me today, my affirmation and intention is to deeply and completely love and accept myself. Whatever challenges arise, whatever journey I'm on, whatever transitions I'm making, through it all, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And that means through the course of this practice, whatever goes on, I accept it and I love myself. So join me in child's pose, knees wide apart today. We'll begin to stretch out that lower back. So we'll take our hands out in front of us, really spreading the fingers wide, sinking the hips toward the heels. And begin to allow the heart to drop toward the mat, the forehead to drop toward the mat. And as we get set up for our practice today, feel all points of contact of your body on the mat. Begin to soften the skin of the face. Release the tongue from the roof of the mouth. Release any tension in the jaw. And really begin to pay closer attention to the breath traveling in and out of the body. Notice the expansion of the rib cage as you breathe in, perhaps of the belly as you breathe in. And we'll take one really big breath, filling up the belly, filling up the low ribs, filling up the upper chest and the throat, and then sigh it out through the mouth. And then we'll rise up onto our hands and knees into tabletop position. So we're going to get started right away here with some isolation and some deep core strengthening. So press firmly into all 10 fingers, especially that thumb and first finger, and imagine spiraling your elbows forward, your inner elbows forward toward the front of the mat, and your outer upper arms and your armpits back. So we're working, pressing away from the mat, moving everything away from itself, working with oppositional energy here. Press into the knees and the tops of the feet, and gently tucking the chin. If you find that you start to lose strength in the shoulders, it can be really helpful to elevate the hands a little bit up on blocks or books, just to have a little bit of extra space to work with, giving yourself a little bit of extra help. So I'm going to be there today. So getting really set in our strong tabletop here. And then before we move into cat-cows, we're going to do some pelvic rocks, which are really like cat-cows just for the lower body here. So we're going to exhale and tuck our pelvis firmly under, pulling up firmly through the belly. So really trying to keep this upper body steady and stable, really neutral. And then inhale, keep the upper body as it is, and just press the pelvis back. Press the tailbone toward the sky. Keep the belly pulled in and push the tailbone up. Inhaling exhaling, drawing that pelvis underneath, squeezing it forward as though you're initiating the movement right from the top of the pelvic bones here. So draw it up and under you, and then exhale or inhale, rock it back. So instead of kind of a momentum movement here, we're really using slow muscular movements. So squeezing the pelvis back, stretching through the lower belly, but continuing to pull it in at the navel. And exhale, pull it forward, draw it in, spiraling those inner thighs back toward the back of the mat, squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. And we'll do one more round. Inhale, pressing the tailbone up to the sky, pressing the glutes back, pressing the pelvis back, and exhaling, squeezing, rocking, drawing it forward underneath. And then we'll move into some full cat and cow. So cow pose, inhale, drop the belly, but try to keep that same muscular energy going on. So move really slowly and feel the chest and the pelvis pulling away from each other. And exhale, scoop that belly in slowly and scoop the upper rib cage up. Pulling up, pressing up toward the sky like you're being pulled. And then feel how the crown of the head and the pelvis move toward each other as we pull them away from the sky almost. Inhaling, stretch, crown of the head and tailbone up, heart through the arms, wide collarbones. Exhale, scooping in the belly. Initiating this from the pelvis and press through the hands. Press that upper back toward the sky. One more round here. And then coming back to our neutral tabletop, we'll just take one more child's pose here. Maybe if you've got the blocks, feel free to continue having your hands up on them, getting a little bit of a deeper stretch maybe through the shoulders, rocking side to side a little bit, wake up that lower back. And then rising up onto our hands and knees. We will stand all the way up onto the knees, coming into our gate pose. So our knees are right underneath the hip bones, and then we'll take our right foot out to the right side. So heel is in line with the left knee. And then lifting that left arm up, we'll bend over to the right. Just a nice side stretch here. Nothing too serious. We're just getting the blood flowing through the side body. Maybe inhaling, looking up at the armpit. Press out with the left hip, so you're pressing away from the right foot. And inhaling back up. And then we will just keep the right leg as it is and bend back, lean back onto the left foot, stretching through that inner thigh. So getting a nice, huge inner thigh stretch here, keeping our toes pointing forward, feeling all the way through this whole leg, the whole straight leg. Nice slow breaths here as we wake up the body. And then inhale back up into our little gate pose, and we'll walk that right knee in, and then extend the left leg out to the side. Heel in line with the right knee. Standing up nice and tall, gentle tuck of the pelvis. Making sure that right hip is right over our right knee. Lift up through the right arm and bend over towards that straight left leg. Keep pressing outward with this right hip, so we're not collapsing down here, but but drawing in through the lower belly, pressing out with the hip. Nice stretch through this whole length here. Maybe looking up past the armpit. And inhaling back up, and we will sit back onto our right heel. You can keep your toes as they are or tuck the foot under to get a little bit of a stretch through the sole of the right foot as well. So soft here through that left leg, just let it stretch out. Nice, slow, deep breaths. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Take one more cycle of breath, noticing how it feels as it travels in and out. We're about to start to pick things up a little bit. So inhaling back up to our knees, draw that left knee back under you, and then we'll come forward into our tabletop. You can have your hands up on blocks here or down on the mat, whatever's good for you. We're going to do some bird dogs. So go ahead and take the right leg behind you. Walk forward just a little bit. And for a minute, just tuck those toes under, and we'll just rock back and forth a little bit, stretching through the calf and preparing here. So we want to make sure we're always in really good alignment. So I'm pulling up through my abdominal wall, making sure my hips are pretty level, and then lifting up that right leg, keeping my hips as level as possible, pointing the toes straight down, foot firmly flexed, and left arm comes out. Extending the hand and the foot away from each other. Big inhale, and exhale, draw the right knee, left elbow together into a nice crunch. Inhaling, extend. Exhale, draw them together slowly, but with control and strength. Inhale, extend. Exhale, crunch them together. One more, inhale to extend, and exhale. If you can reach for the foot, give yourself a nice chest stretch here, grabbing the ankle and pressing away. We're going to challenge our balance a fair amount too today. So big inhale and exhale to release. And then moving to the other side. Go ahead and press that left foot, straighten the left leg out behind you. Tucking the toes under and rocking on the toes just a little bit. Again, scooping through the inner belly and then through the shoulder girdle, making sure that we're not collapsing here, but really pressing away from the earth. Gentle tuck of the chin. Lift that left leg up into the air. Foot flex like you could stomp on the wall behind you. Toes pointing down. Make sure your hips are level, not tilted to one side. And right arm out. Big inhale to extend the foot and the hand away from each other. And exhale, crunch, draw the right elbow, left knee together. Inhale to extend. Exhale, draw them together slowly like you're moving through water. Inhale. Big extension. Exhale, drawing them together. One more big inhale to extend. And exhale, reaching for that foot. Pressing the foot away, stretching through the chest. Nice big deep chest stretch here. And exhale, release. We'll probably move the blocks off for a minute here and come into our plank pose. So we can either come into plank up on the hands or on the elbows into dolphin plank. So in dolphin plank, hands are flat, extended on the mat with our palms down, elbows right underneath your shoulders, or you can interlace the hands, whatever feels best to you. I'm going to go in dolphin plank today because I've been having a lot of neck pain and shoulder pain, and so I don't want to give my body any more opportunity to cheat than necessary. So now in plank pose, you can be on your knees or on your toes. Either way, we're really drawing in through the belly. So we're pulling up through the whole front body and pressing up through the back body. So big extension here, spinning the inner thighs up toward the sky, tucking the pelvis under. That same motion here as we did with our pelvic crunches at the beginning. Crown of the head forward. And exhale, letting the knees fall down to the mat. We're going to come into a side plank with a nice little side crunch. So taking the forearm parallel with the front of the mat, we'll come onto our left hip. So you can either keep that left knee down, just like this, or come all the way up onto your foot. Either way, squeeze that shoulder blade in, spiral it in, squeeze the shoulder blades together a little bit. So here we are in our modified side plank. Hand up to the sky and then extend it forward. Lift that back leg and we're going to crunch it. Knee to elbow again. Really burning out the obliques here, getting blood flowing through the whole core. Inhale to extend. Exhale, squeeze and lift away from the mat. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, pull in through the belly and squeeze together. Big inhale. Exhale, all the way down onto the mat for a brief little rest. Forehead down. Hands by the side. And inhaling back up, we'll come into side plank on the other side. So right forearm parallel with the front edge of the mat. And I'm going to keep my knee down here, sort of kickstanding my foot back out. But you can feel free to come up onto your foot if you want. But if you're here with your knee down, we're squeezing the shoulder blade in, squeezing the shoulder blades together, pressing up through the elbow. Arms straight up to the sky and extend it overhead, lifting up that left leg. Big inhale and exhale, squeeze knee and elbow together. Inhale, extend. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, extend. Exhale, draw everything together. Keep pressing up through that elbow. 2 more rounds here. 1 more, extend and squeeze the elbow and knee together. Then extend and come onto the belly. We'll draw the thumbs by the lower ribs. Roll the shoulder heads back and press up into cobra pose. Wide collarbones here. Press down through the hands. Lifting the gaze. Big back bend. Open up. Feel your body open up layer by layer with each breath. And then lower down to the mat. And we'll do 3 rolling cobras here. So roll the shoulders back and see if you can keep your hands lifted off the mat. Just press the body up, pull up. Spiral those inner thighs up toward the sky. All 10 toes pressing down. And exhale down. Inhaling, press the hands in to the mat. Squeeze the elbows together. Big inhale and exhale, rolling back down. Now, thumbs by the low ribs. Roll the shoulders back. Press into the mat with the 10 toenails. Lifting up. Nice big cobra pose or upward dog. Thighs and knees off the floor in up dog. And coming back into child's pose. Take a nice deep breath. Feel the belly expand. Feel the chest expand. Take note of any changes going on in your body as we activate our back body, activate our core, get our blood flowing. Then inhaling back up, we'll come all the way down to the mat again for locust pose. So drawing the hands back behind you, tuck the chin into the chest, and first we'll just lift the upper body. So hands come off the mat, Shoulder blades squeeze together. Feel all of these rib muscles and lower trapezius and rhomboid squeezing, 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 squeezing. And then release everything down. And then we will lift the legs up. So just the legs, keep the upper body on the floor. And inhale, we'll lift the legs up, extending through the toes, spiraling the inner thighs up, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze through the hamstrings, and exhale to release. And then everything all together. So inhaling everything up, squeeze the shoulder blades together, squeeze the inner thighs up, lifting, lifting, lifting. And if you can, reach for your feet and lift up into bow pose. Nice strong belly here. Really lift up and away from the mat. Squeeze the knees together. Press those heels away. And exhale. Release down and come back into another child's pose. Coming back up, we're going to move it up away from the mat now. So I'm going to bring my blocks back for my downward dogs just because my shoulders need a little bit of extra support today. So from tabletop position, go ahead and roll those inner elbows forward, outer upper arms back, tuck the toes, and press the pelvis up and back into downward dog. So nice long spine here. Whatever it takes to get our spine long, bend your knees as much as you need. We'll take a few petals through the feet. Scooping up through that lower belly. Soft neck, no unnecessary tension in our neck or head or face here. So get yourself steady for a breath or two. Pressing away with the hands, pressing into all 10 fingers, especially that thumb and first finger. Pressing energy down through the legs. And then on the next inhale, we'll lift that leg up into three-legged dog. Nice strong core here. So none of this is coming from our lower back. This is all from our glute, from our hamstring, from our lower belly. Lift that pelvic floor up. Big inhale, hips level, and exhale. We'll draw our knee directly into the middle of the chest. Squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it. Inhaling back into three-legged dog. Exhale, draw the knee toward the right elbow. So right knee to the right elbow. Squeeze it. Inhaling back up into three-legged dog. And exhale, squeezing the knee across the body. So right knee to left elbow. Back in to our three-legged dog. And exhale, squeeze that knee in, and we'll step the foot between the hands. Spiral the back foot down. Heel to arch alignment, coming up into warrior two. So sinking in here. We'll get pretty comfortable here for a few breaths as we find our steadiness. I always find it a little easier to feel compassion for myself when I have a sense of being grounded and steady. So again, with that pelvic tuck here, spiraling the hip underneath me, right knee right over my right ankle, arms extending away from each other in our powerful warrior two pose. Inhaling, coming into reverse warrior, lifting that right arm up, keeping the right knee bent. Nice big side body stretch. And exhale, straighten out that right leg into a reverse triangle. Inhaling up and pull energy from the earth, drawing this right hip underneath you, right leg underneath without locking out the knee joint. So strengthen the right leg, and we will extend our arms, leaning out, hinging from this hip, leaning out as far as possible over the front leg. And once we can't lean anymore, then we'll bend over into our triangle pose. Hand can come to shin or floor or a block. I'm just going to let it dangle for today in an unsupported triangle. So imagining that I could I could put my shoulder blades on the wall behind me, pulling my right hip back and squeezing my left hip forward like I'm squeezing a block between my inner thighs. Pressing firmly into the front big toe and the knife edge of the back foot. And inhaling, returning back to our warrior two pose. Now right away we're gonna come into a half moon, so getting our balance on. So draw energy up through the belly. Feel really supported and grounded and strong through the whole core and back body. And then stepping the back foot in a little bit, we'll balance on the front foot and take our hand about 6 to 12 inches in front of our front foot, opening up the hips, back leg lifted parallel with the earth, foot firmly flexed like we could stomp on the wall behind us, and spiral that chest open, 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 open. Again, getting our shoulder blades parallel with the wall behind us. Lifting the arm up if you feel steady. Big breaths here. Use that inner eye to try and see what micro adjustments you need to make. Feel what does your body need in this pose. Big inhale and exhale. Go ahead, lower that left foot to meet the right. Big toes together, heels slightly apart. We're going to come into a chair pose. So lifting the arms up, scooping that tailbone under, pulling the belly in, inner thighs spin back. Big chair here. Feel the activation in the whole back body. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. So if you feel them hunching up, just widen the arms out a little bit. Squeeze the shoulder blades down the back body. Big inhale here. And on our exhale, we're going to fly our arms behind us, lifting the heels, coming into our flying chair. Press into those toes, squeeze up through that low belly. Inhale back to chair. Exhale, flying chair. Squeeze the hands together behind you. Inhale, chair. Exhale, flying chair. Inhale the chair. And exhale into our warrior three. So stepping firmly onto the right foot, lift up the left foot and extend it behind you. Arms forward or back behind you. Maybe clasping them, getting a nice little chest stretch here. Holding into this warrior three for just a minute. Strong leg rooting us, squeezing that right hip in. And then inhale, come to stand on that right leg, squeeze the left knee into the chest. Keeping our spine as straight as possible. Wide collarbone, squeeze that chest nice and wide and open. And then we'll move through those two poses 3 times. So inhaling into our warrior three, trying to keep our hips level. Exhaling, squeezing that knee into our chest. Inhaling, warrior three. Exhaling, standing knee to chest. Or if you grab the back of the thigh, wherever you can grab. Inhale, warrior three, trying to get that back leg parallel with the earth. Exhale, standing knee to chest. Inhale one more time to warrior three. And then slowly stepping that back foot down into a high lunge. So make sure your feet are as wide as hip width or a little wider. No railroad tracks here. Lifting up, maybe bending the back knee a little bit so that our hips can be even, and then stretch out. Feel a nice big stretch to that left hip flexor. Arms up to the sky. Beautiful. And exhale, we'll lower the back knee, lower our arms, go through a vinyasa, either chaturanga from plank, or we'll just go knees, chin and chest, lifting up into cobra or upward dog, and exhaling back into our downward dog. So get steady here. Pressing through the thumb and first finger, lifting up through the palms, taking pressure off the wrist. Squeeze those inner elbows forward, upper armpits back. And then on your next inhale, we'll lift the left leg up into our three-legged dog. So feel that nice stretch through the right hamstring. Keep the hips level. Flex foot. Big inhale. And exhale, draw the knee, squeezing it into the chest. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Shoulders right over the wrists. Inhale, back up into three-legged dog. Exhaling, draw that left knee to left elbow. Squeeze through the obliques here. Tuck the chin. Inhale back into three-legged dog. And exhale, we'll bring that knee across the body. Left knee to right elbow. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. One more three-legged dog. And exhale, step the foot between the hands, spiraling the back foot open, coming up into warrior two. Getting steady here, feeling our firm foundation. Pressing through the heel, left knee right over the left ankle. Feel all 5 of my front toes on the mat. Feel the back foot firmly pressing in, especially that knife edge of the back foot. Gently squeezing the shoulder blades together, softening the shoulders away from the ears. Sinking in here. Steady gaze out over the middle fingertips. And inhaling, we'll come into reverse warrior. Bending through that front knee, keeping a nice long side body here, squeezing that left hip under. Back hand above or below the back knee. And inhale, straighten out through that front leg, coming into reverse triangle pose. Squeeze that left hip back, right hip forward. And inhaling, coming back up. We will pull energy from the earth up through this whole front leg. Squeezing the left hip under, squeezing the right hip forward. Arms up and hinging from the hip. Extend, 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 extend over that front leg as much as possible. And then falling over into our triangle, hand to shin or floor or block or dangling. Trying to lean our shoulders against the wall behind us. Not really, don't fall over. I always think of I'm a little teapot when I come into triangle pose. So pour out whatever you don't need so that there's space for all of your self-love and acceptance. Fill up with that. Big inhale. Back up into warrior two, bending through that front knee. Head over heart, heart over pelvis. And then we'll make our way into that half moon pose. And then back up a little bit. There's a hill that way. I don't really want to half moon into the hill. So I'm going to bring my right hand to my right hip, step that back foot in a little bit, and left hand 6 to 12 inches in front of the pinky toe of my front foot, lifting up into half moon. Taking our time here, squeezing up through the core, pulling up through the pelvic floor, lifting up through that back leg, drawing energy all the way up from the front heel and sending it out through the back heel, finding your steady focal point or drishti. Lifting up the right hand if it feels good. Challenging the balance here, challenging the core strength, the back body strength, our supporting foundation strength. And then slowly rotating that hip forward, bringing our big toes to touch. Woo! Heels slightly apart. We'll come back into that chair. So bending the knees, trying not to let them go forward of our toes, lifting up the arms, scoop in the belly, scoop the pelvis under. Breathe deep here in this powerful chair pose. Big inhale and exhale. Draw the hands behind, lifting up the heels into that flying chair. Big inhale into chair pose. Exhale, flying chair. Inhale, chair. Exhale, lifting the heels, standing on the toes, spiraling the inner thighs down. Inhale, chair, tucking the pelvis under. And exhale. One more flying chair. I think we got an extra one on this side. One more chair. And then pressing all the way into that left foot, lifting the right foot up, coming into our warrior three. So keeping our hips level here as best as possible. Extend firmly through that back leg, back foot, right foot extended or flexed. You can have your arms forward or back, maybe getting a little chest expansion here before we move into those standing knee to chest. Inhaling, standing up, drawing that knee into the chest. Finding some balance here. Really sending energy down that standing leg. Imagining it rooted into the earth. My solid foundation. Pulling the shoulders back, squeezing the heart forward. And inhaling into warrior three. And exhaling, squeezing that knee into chest. Inhaling, warrior three. Really pulling up firmly through the lower belly. Exhaling, knee into chest. One more time. Inhaling, bending forward. One straight line of energy through the whole body. Exhaling, standing knee into chest. And into our warrior three for the last time. And slowly letting that back foot come down into our high lunge. Finding whatever width, whatever distance you need between your front and back leg. Bend through that back knee a little bit and then extend it out. Feeling a huge stretch here through this hip flexor. Letting my shoulders soften away from the ears. Big inhales to extend and lengthen. And exhale, coming back down into our vinyasa, either chaturanga to upward dog or knees, chin, and chest. Into cobra, either way, roll the shoulder heads back, press the heart forward, and exhale into downward dog. Take one huge cycle of breath here, or whatever kind of cycle of breath feels really good. Maybe sighing it out through the mouth. And then we'll come down onto our knees, and we'll come forward into our Sphinx pose. So coming all the way onto the belly, we'll put the elbows right underneath the shoulders. And for a minute, spread your hands out really wide. So your middle finger is going straight forward from the elbow. And just let your shoulders collapse here. So sink down into them. And then from this place, we're going to completely shift that energy. So press up, pull the belly up. So imagine that you're just really being sucked up here. Squeeze the inner elbows together. Press through the thumb and first finger. Roll the shoulder heads back and gently tuck the chin. A really firm Sphinx here. Feel your shoulder blades squeezing together. Active all the way down the whole length of the spine. Pulling up through the belly. Gently spiraling the inner thighs up toward the sky. And exhale. All the way down. Release everything. Hands back by the low ribs. We'll come back into a child's pose. Just briefly as a transition. Take a moment to just assess what's going on in your body. And then coming up to seated, we will do some little cat-cows here. So just at the beginning, we really focused on the pelvis in the cat-cow. Here we're going to really focus on the chest. So go ahead, roll the shoulders down and away. Take a few rolls here just to get them kind of activated and feel that sinking feeling. Let them fall. Sometimes our fallen shoulders they're still kind of hunched because they're so tight. So we're just giving them some love today. So rolling those shoulder heads back, squeezing the shoulder blades together and down. We'll inhale, press the heart forward, pulling the chest through and open. Big wide collarbones. Exhale, rounding the back, squeezing the navel in, pressing the belly back. Inhale, pressing the chest open, shoulders back, gaze lifts. Exhale, squeeze, finding that mobility in the upper spine. Inhaling, pulling the chest through, heart open, shoulders back. Exhale, drawing the belly in, squeezing, pressing that rib cage back. Press the heart back toward the back wall. One more round here. Inhale, open through the chest. Exhale, pull everything back, squeeze it back. And then we'll just take a few seated circles here. So generally inhaling as we come forward, rib cage to one knee and the other. Exhaling as we are in the back of the circle. Big inhales forward and exhale back. And then changing directions, moving the opposite way. Inhale forward, exhale back. Feel free to pull on the knees as much as you want here. Sometimes we shy away from using muscular energy to pull or press ourselves into something, but this can be a nice stretch. Inhale forward, exhale back. One more circle, and then we'll come into our staff pose. So this is one of those that's really deceptive. So I'm going to sit up on a block here because my hips and hamstrings are a towel. This is a towel. Towel or a blanket. You can sit on a block. So pulling the fleshy part of the glutes back. I want my sits bones really connected with what they're contacting. Legs straight out in front of me. Feet flexed firmly, toes pointing toward the ceiling. Gentle spiral the inner thighs down, and I'm going to draw the kneecaps up with some muscular energy through the legs. Roll the shoulder heads back. Now, drawing the attention to the spine, head over heart, heart over pelvis. I want a really straight spine here. And I'm going to let my arms be right down my sides. Maybe reaching the floor, maybe not, maybe just fingertips on the floor. But I want to be straight and strong here. So I find that after a few breaths, I really need to draw in through the belly so I don't start collapsing. So I am supporting myself here because I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And because of that deep love and acceptance, I will do everything I can to support myself, to support my own growth. This is one of those poses that looks so simple, but if you do it just a few minutes a day, you really gain a lot of spinal strength. One more full cycle of breath here, inhales and exhales. And then we will do a little bit of twisting. So bending the right knee, drawing that foot in. I'm going to take my left knee, bend my left knee and put my left foot across the knee. So if this feels a little bit too much for you, you can keep that right leg extended out in front of you. Bending the knee will intensify the stretch on the hips. So notice if you're rocking off toward that foot and try to get both hips down on the ground. Whatever that means. For knee placement, just make sure that your joints feel safe and comfortable. Knee always pointing the same direction as the toes, please. Inhaling, right arm up. And exhale, twist toward that left knee, squeezing in toward the chest, giving it a hug. Inhale the left hand up, and exhale it out behind you, tenting the fingertips. Lifting up on the inhales and spiraling a little further on the exhales. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, deepen. Maybe drawing that right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, move a little deeper. Not wrenching, just moving within the invitations of your body. One more full cycle of breath here, and then on the inhale, returning back, and we will switch legs. So legs out in front of you, keeping that left leg extended as we bend the right knee and place it over the left thigh, or bending that right knee and having the left foot come up beside the right hip. So right foot flat on the floor, making sure my hips are grounded and my spine is straight, sitting nice and tall. Inhale, lifting the left arm. Exhaling, turning toward that right bent knee, giving it a hug. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, right arm behind. Inhaling, lengthening. Exhale, twist further. Always initiating the twist from the base of the spine, moving up, 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 up. Deep, full inhales and exhales. Feel the strength of the back body supporting you in this twist. Getting some extra mobility, blood flow. Maybe moving the left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Big inhale. Listening deeply inside. Inhales to lengthen, exhales to deepen. And releasing, coming back to center. We'll do just a little bit more work here on the core. So we're going to do Navasana, or a half boat pose at least. So if you have a lot of lower back pain, you'll want to keep your hands on the floor behind you. We're going to roll back just behind the sit bones, lifting up the feet, getting our shins parallel with the earth. We want a nice straight spine, flat back, open heart. And if it feels good to lift up the hands, go ahead and lift up the hands. Heart open. We're going to just do a little bit, extending one leg at a time. Feel free to hold behind the legs if you're getting tired, but shaking is good as long as there's no pain involved. So inhale, extend the right leg, keep the knees squeezed together. Exhale back. Inhale, extend the left leg. Exhale, feet together. Inhale, extend the right, feet together. Inhale, left, together. Inhale, right, together. Exhale, left, together. Inhale, extend both legs. And exhale, rock forward. Awesome. Okay, we're gonna see if we can balance one more time. So lifting up the legs, holding up behind the legs or behind the back. See if we can widen the knees and grab our toes and come into our wide leg balance here. Pressing the heart forward, squeezing through the legs. If your knees are bent, that's fine. We're just seeing how we can hold our balance here. I'm gonna blame that on the brick beneath me. And just drawing the feet back in. Let's take a few rock and rolls to massage the back a little bit. Rocking back and up to seated. And then on the last rock, we'll just slowly lower back, drawing the knees into the chest, giving them a nice hug. And go ahead and make a few circles. Hands on the knees, moving the legs around in one direction and then in the other direction. Squeezing, moving, massaging that low back. And then we'll do a few bridge poses. So drawing the heels right underneath the knees. We're going to do a little gentle pelvic tuck here so that we're not having a lot of gap between our spine and the mat, but also not slamming our lower back down into the earth. Just finding that gentle tension, that point where you can be the most effective. Roll the shoulders back, squeeze the shoulder blades in together, and inhale. We'll press into the heels, press firmly, squeeze the inner thighs together, spiral them down, and press through the hamstrings and the glutes, squeezing up, lifting the lower back and the mid back and the upper back. Squeeze through the hamstrings. Feel the whole back body turn on. And exhale, slowly lower one vertebrae at a time. Lowering back down to the earth. Go ahead, take the feet together, knees apart. Place a hand over the heart and one hand over the belly. And I invite you to think of one reason that you deeply love yourself. What is one thing you cherish about yourself? And draw the knees back in together. We'll come into another bridge pose. So heels right under the knees. Squeeze. Feel all 10 toes down on the mat. Press firmly into the heels. I'll spiral the inner thighs and lift up. Press into the heels. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Press the sacrum toward your knees. Squeeze up and lift. Lift, 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 lift. Big inhale. Feel how strong and capable you are to support yourself. Big inhale here, lifting up, and exhale slowly, lowering back down to the mat, keeping that belly pulled in, one vertebrae at a time. And opening up the legs, hand on the heart, hand on the belly. Go ahead and think of one reason that you will accept yourself today. What is something that you are working on, just totally allowing about yourself? And knees back together. We'll come into one more bridge pose, or if you feel up to it, into a wheel pose. So if into a wheel, again, start with the feet right under your knees. Gentle pelvic tuck. Draw the hands up and by the ears, bending the elbows. Pressing into the heels, we'll squeeze up, coming under the crown of the head, and pressing up into wheel pose. So fingers point straight toward the feet, toes point straight ahead. Press up through the quads and the glutes and the hamstrings, squeezing up through the heels, pressing the heart open, pulling in through the lower ribs. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And slowly lowering back down to the mat, one vertebrae at a time, wherever you are, and squeeze the knees into the chest. Awesome work. We'll lower the feet back down onto the mat and just do a few windshield wipers here. So feet as wide as the mat, knees pointing straight up, and we'll just lower the knees off to the right or to the left. Try to keep both shoulders down on the mat. Feel free to cactus the arms up or put them out. Inhale the knees back to center, and exhale, drop them off to the right. Two more times in each direction. Inhaling up to center, exhale, drop the knees off to the left. Inhale back up and exhale off to the right. Inhale back up, one more time off to the left. And one more time off to the right. And then we will come into a reverse figure four stretch. So go ahead, take your right knee or your right ankle to the left knee, and then draw that left knee into the chest, reaching anywhere you can behind the thigh or on top of the knee. Stretching out through those glutes and the outer thigh. Keeping both feet flexed to protect the knee joint, or at least the right knee flexed. Squeezing it in. And if it feels good, if you feel really inclined to get a deeper stretch, you can take the right knee on top of the left knee, reaching for both feet like handlebars, squeezing in. This stretches, it's a deeper stretch, but it's also just stretching a different part of the hip girdle here. So if that doesn't feel good, just stick with what does. And then we'll release that, feet to the floor, taking the left ankle over the right knee and drawing it in toward the chest. reaching anywhere behind the thigh or anywhere along the leg that feels good. Keeping that left foot firmly flexed this time. Imagining almost that we could breathe right into that left hip, keeping it soft and open. Big deep breaths here. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And then if you feel so inclined, taking that left knee over the right knee, stacking them and reaching for the feet. Feeling a different stretch here. Or sticking with that figure four stretch. And then releasing that, we'll reach into our happy baby pose, reaching for the feet or along the legs, the ankles. Drawing the knees toward the armpits, feet facing up toward the sky, toward the ceiling. And press the pelvic bone into the mat, the sacrum down into the mat, trying to keep the whole spine on the floor if possible. Maybe finding a little movement here, rocking side to side, or staying still. Just notice what feels best to your body, what you need, what you want. Opening up here, finding some deep release as we prepare for our final resting pose, our Shavasana. Big inhale and exhale, release. One more time, hugging those knees into the chest. And then we will extend our legs down, coming into our Shavasana, our corpse pose, where we completely let go and relax, and our bodies can take in all the work that we did. So this is our big exhale here, our out breath, where we find relaxation. So extending the legs fully, drawing the tailbone down, rolling the shoulder heads underneath you, or the shoulder heads back, shoulder blades underneath you. Just let the arms splay out at the sides, feet flop open. And as we prepare to fully and completely rest for a few minutes here, just go ahead and think of one more thing that you deeply love about yourself. When we recognize the things we already love, it's easier to find more lovable things. I deeply and completely love and accept myself wherever I am today. And now, Shavasana, rest. Go ahead, take a few deeper breaths, keeping the eyes closed, filling the body back with energy, connecting back to the body on the earth, wiggling our fingers and toes, circling the wrists and ankles, stretching out however feels good and nourishing to your body. When you're ready, slowly bend the knees, rolling off to one side. Pausing for gratitude and to acknowledge the hard work that you've done today. Deeply loving and accepting yourself. Press up to seated. Crossing with the shins, sitting up nice and tall. Bring the hands together at the heart, remembering the intention you set at the beginning. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, may you be loved and loving, and may you be radiant. Namaste.